Hi everyone, I'm Stan Mallow. Welcome to Paranormal Yakker. My guest today is ET experiencer and UFO researcher Ella LeBain. She's the author of the popular series Who's Who in the Cosmic Zoo, a guide to ETs, aliens, exoplanets, and space controversies, and has been a frequent guest on the show. I'll be talking with Ella about her latest book, The Cosmic Slingshot, Connecting Dots to Reincarnation in the Bible, Alien Abductions, and End Times Prophecies. Ella LeBain, welcome to Paranormal Yakker.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me, Stan.
The title of your book, The Cosmic Slingshot, has its roots in something said by David, one of the most well-known kings of ancient Israel and Judah. How, Ella, are they connected?
As you know, King David was a musician and a poet and also a warrior. And the famous story about him as a young man, young boy actually, who killed the giant Goliath with a slingshot. It was years later that his wife, Abigail, actually said to him in another conflict that God is going to send your enemies through the cosmic slingshot. And she used the same words that he used, but it was just called kaf, which means cup, hakela, which is slingshot, which has been translated, and the meaning of it is the cosmic slingshot. So Kafakela, suffice to say, is one of the Hebrew words for reincarnation. And this is left in the Bible after an attempt to delete all references to reincarnation in the Bible in 570 AD by the Church of Rome. So in my new book, I give the history of how, when, and why that happened. And that one thing we can always count on is human error. And the monks that were ordered to delete all the scriptures about reincarnation were only as good as their understanding of the scriptures. So they left about 24 scriptures behind. A whole chapter, chapter 37 of the book of Ezekiel, is about the reincarnation of ancient Israel. And not only that, but they left the two Hebrew words that Jews use to refer to reincarnation in the Bible because they didn't understand them. They didn't understand the reference. So Kafakela is one of them. And then the other word is Gilgulim. And this is translated as wheels within wheels. And we see this in the book of Ezekiel in relation to the spaceships, Ezekiel 1, and describing this piece of technology, but it is also referenced to the soul, the Gilgulim of the souls. And this has to do with the souls going through a type of wheel within a wheel in the afterlife. So very similar to the slingshot, where you go through, you come out the other end.
If one asks most people in the Western Hemisphere where the concept of reincarnation came from, they will likely say it's a Hindu or New Age belief. You, Ella, say the truth is that reincarnation has been in the Bible all this time. Besides what you just said, can you give some examples?
Yes, and it is a core Jewish belief, always has been. So in Judaism, you have the Torah, you have the Tanakh, which is the Old Testament Bible. You have the Zohar, which is considered the book of splendor, which is all about cosmology and all the spiritual stuff, the mysteries, Kabbalah. And then there's the Talmud. The Zohar is considered the anti-Talmud because the Talmud has to do with divisions. How should you crack an egg on the Sabbath? How many angels can you fit on the head of a pin? Those types of disputes. Whereas the Zohar is the anti-Talmud because it speaks about unity and coming together under one Messiah. Suffice to say that all of these three Jewish sources that are considered the holy books of Judaism all speak about reincarnation. So I prove this. This is a core Jewish belief, comes out of the Torah. Everything comes out of the Torah. Judaism came out of the Torah. Christianity comes out of the Torah. Islam comes out of the Torah. So it's always been there, misunderstood. I also prove that only Christianity, only the Church of Rome were the ones who rejected it. All the other religions on the earth have always had these core beliefs in reincarnation and rebirth. So if you go back into the ancient past, the beginning of Judaism was happening simultaneously while Hinduism was also coming together. So this was an ancient belief. The Hindus have their version of it. The Buddhists have their version of it. But it comes right out, it's almost one and the same, because if you compare the two versions, which I have in the book, the wheels, for instance, the wheels of the soul is very similar to what Buddhists believe. And the good news is, it's not just about us, like what we do, what we don't do. Those are parts of it. But it is dependent on the Messiah who comes to end the cycles of rebirth. People think, like in Hinduism and Buddhism, that if you're just good enough, you can stop the rebirth. If you just find ways of doing something better, or get out of, let your dharma run over your karma, get out of the wheels of samsara, all those things. Whereas the Torah tells us that a righteous soul can, a God created soul can live up to 1,000 generations. That means that that soul can live up to 1,000 times. And the Zohar and the Torah also talks about how it's not limited to a linear timeline. So they actually believe that you can reincarnate at different times. Like we're here in 2025. If we decided, or God decided to put us back, it may not be in this time or even a future time. It may be in a past time. All of this is on the table in Judaism. You can time travel. And the Torah talks about time travel. So the reason for reincarnation, they say, is teshuvah, is the main reason, which means correction. So you get to come back to correct things, to work on things, to evolve, to fix relationships. Like marriage is a big piece. They say you can come back because of soulmate issues, like you might have married your soulmate and then divorced them, and then you have to come back and put it right. All those types of things are in play in the Torah. So it's astounding to me how they all miss this. And that's another piece that I highlight and underscore in this book, is this one rogue scripture that Christians use as a mantra in their reaction and response to the notion of reincarnation, where they say, oh, Hebrews 12:9, it's appointed unto man once to die and then the judgment, as if that's the end of the discussion. But in order for scripture to be considered the word of God, it has to prove with other scriptures. Scriptures much match each other. The Old and the New Testament is like a right and a left leg. It has to walk together and be a match. And if it's not a match, it's rogue. It's an implant. And I prove that that scripture was an implant by the Church of Rome. There's about 3 major implants in the New Testament. One about that, trying to cover up reincarnation, and the other has to do with the role of women. And another very misunderstood scripture about the synagogue of Satan. And I unpack all of that in this book because it's connected. So like, for instance, Jews will say, and they say this all the time, they talk about past lives like you talk about what you have for dinner last night. Like, who were you in a past life? He must have been such and such. He must have been so and so. Jews believe that every generation has a Moshe, meaning Moses, that he reincarnates, he comes back, because he never actually made it to the promised land. So like, he got close but never actually entered. So this is sort of like a thing that keeps looping. And the reason why is because of the Erev Rav. So Erev Rav is this group of kind of like bad Jews. It's always religious, it's not atheists. And they're the ones that were responsible for the crucifixion of Christ, Yeshua. They conspired. So that whole group, the Pharisees, the Sanhedrin, and also the people that were in the crowd that chose Barabbas over Yeshua. And then right after they made that decision, they instantly regretted it, as it says in the record, that they said, oh, now his blood will be upon us and all our generation, which is the biblical meaning of a generational curse. So these are what the Bible and the Torah and what Jews call the Erev Rav. And I unpack this because this is an important piece of understanding the past and how it relates to the present and the end time prophecy. Suffice to say, the Erev Rav comes out of Egypt. So when Moses was delivering, everybody was coming out of Egypt, the call was that not just the Israelites, okay, but the Egyptians were invited to come with him, and they did. So they were all kind of mixed up together. They still had this consciousness of how they handled things in ancient Egypt, which was doing these nighttime rituals, these like magic ceremonies and witchcraft and all this stuff. And they brought that in to their 40-year journey to the promised land, which was one of the reasons why they circled for 40 years, like lost, the wandering Jews, lost, walking around, going nowhere. And that was because they had this grumbling amongst them, because there was this split spiritually. It was a faith trip, let's face it. They didn't know where they were going, and they were being led by a spaceship. It led them by a cloud during the day and a bright light at night. That was a spaceship. And Moses was in the intermediary. He was the one in between. And there was, the stories is like they were grumbling, they wanted meat, they had they were tired of eating manna, and all this type of stuff ended up as to why they ended up going in circles. And one of the reasons is because God was trying to have them to just release this victim mentality after being enslaved. So when you're a slave, you think that's your reality. And because of that, they turn to these pagan practices, these magical ceremonies, witchcraft, and they sort of poisoned the well of the true beliefs that Moses was trying to give to them. And we know this from the story when they reached Mount Sinai and he was called up to receive the tablets, and he comes down and they create this golden calf. And that is the Erev Rav. They were the ones who did that. So the Jews believe that every generation has a Moses and every generation has an Erev Rav, that you reincarnate with both your loved ones and your enemies, that the enemies come back. God's plan is for resolution and restoration and reconciliation. So he gives people chances, lots of chances to get things straight, to resolve things, to learn. So this is a big piece of it. It astounds me that Christians have completely missed this. And there it is in the Old Testament Jewish Bible.
You have connected the dots of alien abductions, the harvesting of human energies, and just what making a Faustian contract means, which gives reptilians spiritual legal ground to harvest soul energies after death, and who are keeping the cycles of reincarnation going. How, Ella, are they connected?
When you do research, you come upon stuff that you don't expect. And this was one of them. So this ties into the downfall of humankind, which is genetic. So as anyone's read my books or knows my, where I'm coming from with this, is that the Anunnaki, how I distinguish myself from Sitchin said that the Anunnaki created humankind. I am saying they genetically manipulated humankind, that humankind was originally created in the image and likeness of the gods, that plural, that sentence in Genesis that's in its plurality. And I prove that in the beginning of the Bible, the first, the Adam and Eve, Adamic race is what Sitchin used to call it, the Adam and Eve models, they all lived to be like 900 and something. Methuselah lived to be 969. How did we go from having a human form that could live to be 900 or 1,000 years old to living in this body, which our telomeres technically go up to 120, but most people are lucky if they live to be in their 80s or 90s. So something changed after the floods of Noah. And that was a genetic downgrade on our DNA. So we have now 2 strands of DNA that are operating. And most of us use less than 10% of our brain because the other 10 strands of DNA have been disabled, that the geneticists call junk DNA. But that's just because they've been disabled. And why were they disabled? So this is where the reptilians come in, because they shorten the lifespan so that there's a harvest. The harvest comes quicker. And if a soul is made a Faustian contract, aka a deal with the devil, to get something here on earth, whether it's wealth or riches, fame or relationships or whatever, all the stuff that people make deals, it's like the mafia. You have a debt, you go to the mafia takes care of your debt, and then you're indebted to the mafia. So it's that same concept. And that means that they have a hold, they control your soul. And that's what they're after, because they're working on this alien human hybridization program. They can create human life, they can create alien life, they can clone, but they can't create a human soul. They just can't, because the soul is created by the creator God. And that's what distinguishes us as humans versus a machine, a robot, an alien, etc. So what they need is what we have. And how do they get that? Through this trap. So the reincarnation becomes a trap. It becomes a bondage, because if they can keep recycling souls, especially through war, this is one of the biggest areas that doesn't seem to go away in our timeline, because it's just like recycling. So you have 18, 19, 20-year-old men that end up on a battlefield, and they're all like slaughtered at the same time or whatever. Where do they go? Well, they go through the Cosmic Slingshot, they come back. And in the process of this death and the bloodletting and all of that, there's energy that comes off of us. It comes off of our bodies, and it even comes off of us when we're alive, which is why they keep people in division, because they don't really care about positive and negative. It's just energy. And this is why I'm talking about the soul, is because it's not something that most of us can easily discern and see with our natural eye. So people have to work on it, get into meditative state and alter their vision and to be able to discern the light around us. And we also have Kirlian photography that can discern your energy body, the light around you. And the scientists have determined that, basically concluded that when death happens, that light leaves the body. That's the soul. So if they can come and harvest that, they can harvest your memory, they can take pieces that they feel they lay claim on that belongs to them because of interactions during the life, like the Faustian contract, like people going up and saying, oh God, if you're there, help me. If anyone's out there, please help me. And somebody is out there and they listen, but it's not necessarily the God of the creator God, it's a different God, and they lay claim on your life. So when you die, that gets stripped away from you. And we know this because there are people who have had near-death experiences, which I include in this book, who have been taken down these black holes while they were clinically dead. They reported these beings chewing on them, chewing off their ears, chewing their body, chewing their pieces while they're descending into this black hole. And there's a story in my book, kind of a famous a near-death experience. Howard Storm, still alive, lives, I think he's in his 70s and lives in Ohio, but he was an atheist. And he died on a operating table in Paris, in France, waiting for surgeons to come and save his life. He had some kind of issue with the intestines, and it can only be like surgically corrected. And that says a lot for socialized medicine, where you can die waiting for the doctors, and that's exactly what happened to him. And meanwhile, he's going down this hole because he didn't believe in God. He didn't have any relationship with God. He was an atheist. He wasn't a very good man. He was cheating on his wife. He was a gambler, kind of like in that dark space. And he's going down and down, and he's being eaten alive. And he hears this voice, and the voice says one word: pray. Just a command to him down the hole: pray. And he's descending, and he's thinking, pray? I don't know how to pray. And as he goes deeper down, he pulls into this 5-year-old memory of his, where he was in kindergarten, and the teachers taught him a song: Jesus loves me, this I know, 'cause the Bible tells me so. That's a children's song that they teach. And he reiterated that because he remembered it. And as soon as he said it, this hand, he says, came down all the way through the hole and lifted him up and brought him to heaven and put him right in front of Yeshua, sitting there on the throne. And he interacted and conversed and had this whole conversation. This is why when people say there's no such thing as God, I say there's no such thing as atheists, because all you need to do is meet the Lord, and that's the end of your atheism. So he didn't want to leave, and he fell in love with the Lord. He wanted to stay, and Yeshua said to him, no, I'm going to put you back. You're going to be okay. Everything's going to be fine. And I want you to learn how to live right for me. That was his marching order. And sure enough, that's what happened. The surgeons showed up. They resuscitated him because he was flatlined, and he lived. And the year when he was recovering, he had all these visitations from angels checking on him on his hospital bed. And this is all in his story. But what this proves is that the very reason that God sends people back into their own body is the same reason why God will send people back into a different body. The reasons stay the same. How Christians can deny reincarnation where they believe in resurrection, it's the same God doing the same thing. So that's pretty much what I'm proving in the book. And I'm proving it not only through concepts and what I'm explaining to you, but also through words. If someone is going to take the Bible literally, there it is. It's all there.
According to your extensive research of end times prophecies, are you, Ella, able to give a ballpark figure as to when we might expect it to happen, and how would it come about?
It is happening right now. The end time prophecies are unfolding and being fulfilled right now. I have gone through this almost like a laundry list, where you can check off stuff that, for instance, Matthew 24. So the disciples asked Yeshua, what can we expect when you return, or before you return? How do we know when you're going to? And he gave this long list of things that were going to happen on the earth just prior to his return. And Stan, every single one of them is happening right now. So we have the earth changes, earthquakes, volcanoes, floods, famines, droughts happening in various places, wars, rumors of wars. And then there's this whole other part of people being hostile to other people, rebellion, doing all kinds of violence upon children, rebelling against their parents, and all kinds of horrible things. That's what's happening right now, all over the place. And then we also have part of the prophecy of a finality, an end time war. So let's just call it World War III, because that's what it'll be called in, history. But in the Bible talks about Ezekiel chapter 38, the war of Gog and Magog. And Gog is the Antichrist. Gog is a title, and the Antichrist has a lot of titles. There's so many titles. The man of perdition, the false prince of peace. So what happens is that this being, and this is part of reincarnation too, because even the Christians who reject reincarnation believe that the Antichrist is somehow the reincarnation of Nimrod. They actually think that. And who was Nimrod? He was the Lord of Babylon. Well, who really was the Lord of Babylon? Marduk, according to the Sumerian. So I go, okay, well, fine. We know about Nimrod, but who was Nimrod was probably the reincarnation of Marduk. So if that's the case, then who is Gog? Then the Antichrist, if they're all related and they're like coming back to complete this or to have their seven, and the Bible says that he will be able to reign for 7 years. And the first 3.5 years will be this false peace because he comes to end World War III. He emerges out of this war of Gog and Magog, and Magog was this ancient geography that today would be the land of Turkey and all the way through southern Iran, where the Scythians used to be in the ancient world. So all of those nations are Muslim right now. And then it also talks about the revived Roman Empire. And we know that the Roman Empire didn't really get destroyed. It just got transformed and dissolved into what is today known as the Vatican. And the word Vatican, they changed their name from the Church of Rome to the Vatican, means divining serpent. And they named that after the goddess Vaticanus. So this goes back to, you were asking me earlier about Theodora. And one of the reasons why reincarnation was deleted out of the Bible was because she wanted to be remembered as a goddess of Rome and not as a peasant, because she was born a peasant and she worked her way up as a prostitute, got over the wall of Rome, got into, one of the monks helped her over. This is the history, the pieces that I include in this book, and helped her over, and she ends up becoming a concubine of the Emperor Justinian and then becomes his empress. And that's when she's, and they're, editing the Bible. That's like a big project that's going on, and she decides it irritates her that they're talking about reincarnation. She didn't want that. So she ordered the monks to delete it. And again, they're only as good as what they know of the understanding of the language. So the human era left all these scriptures in that we have today. God only knows what they deleted. And I kind of think, well, I guess that story that I was telling you that's between the conversations of Yeshua and Nicodemus, like they might have deleted his answer because it seems to be like vague there. So these missing pieces that we can say, okay, well, this is why, because this was something that God had put in place for multiple reasons. Yes, the reptilians have been abusing it by shortening people's lives, by creating situations to harvest soul energy, both alive and dead. But God is greater than all of that. So he has allowed reincarnation to be this way of evolution of souls, because the Torah says that people go back for all these different reasons. And it's not all karma and punishment and correction. Some things are missions. So God will send certain souls back because they're tried and true. He can trust them to handle this whole life experience and not lose sight of him. And I prove this, that some of the big leaders in the Bible were reincarnated. And the big guy, Yeshua, who was the incarnation, the baby Jesus, this blew my mind, was that he was seen as the high priest. This is what it says in the book of Hebrews. He's the high priest after the order of Melchizedek. So who was Melchizedek? Melchizedek, there's 4 beings in the Old Testament that never died, and he was one of them. There's no record of his birth, there's no record of his death. he would come and go. There was this whole order and that was created after him, kind of magical, and would like, come in and out of these walls and caves and dimensions. And he was this ethereal person. And so even the Christians believe that there are pre-incarnate appearances of Jesus Christ in the Old Testament. They call them Christophanies. So what I've done is I've taken all four of those Christophanies and connected the dot to Melchizedek, because some scholars actually believe that was Melchizedek. If that was a Christophany or a Melchizedek or was one and the same, then maybe Yeshua was the reincarnation of Melchizedek, because who started the bread and the wine? Melchizedek. And that's what Yeshua did. He did the same thing, the same ritual in the same way. And Melchizedek began it with Abraham. So I don't think that these dots are coincidental. I believe that they are connected, and this is part of the mystery that's there for us to unravel. And that's what I've put in the book.
What advice, Ella, would you give to your fellow citizens here on planet Earth on how they should prepare themselves for the end times?
It's all about your soul and your inner technology. Everybody's going on the outside, looking for the outside technology with the AI, and that can be beneficial and can be used as a tool to help us, but never leave the source of your inner technology, which is the relationship between your soul and its creator, because that's who you're going to see. 1 minute you're here, and the next minute you're not. And it can happen that fast. And the afterlife is multidimensional. And who you know is going to determine where you go.
For me to say that the Cosmic Slingshot has and will ruffle a lot of feathers would be an understatement on my part. What, Ella, is the feedback you've been receiving thus far, and what is the impact your book has had on you personally?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. It was written out of my pain, which I start the introduction of chapter 1. I talk about what I had gone through as a Messianic Jew. A Messianic Jew, for your audience, means that I was born Jewish, raised Jewish, and I accept that Yeshua is the Jewish Messiah, aka Jesus Christ. And I prove this through scripture. In this book, Mashiach ben Joseph, Mashiach ben David, and Melchizedek are all one and the same soul, being, God, and that's Yeshua. He's the manifestation of all of those three. So that's my belief as a Messianic Jew. But as a Messianic Jew, I don't embrace all parts of Christianity. There are three things that I don't follow. One is anti-Semitism, and Christians are kind of known for that. The other is the sexism, the way they seem to treat women, because that's not in the original Jewish Bible, because there's 7 female leaders in the, that God raised up, that ruled, that led, that taught, that prophesied, that judged men. So there are 3 scriptures in the New Testament that I consider rogue. They don't match the Old Testament, and that is evidence of replacement theology. So I don't embrace a lot of that stuff. And that is why I got I'm what my therapist calls a Venn diagram. I'm like, I got my foot in 3 different camps. I'm still a Jew based on my genetics and my upbringing. And Judaism is more than a religion. It's also a DNA. It's a race of people and a history. So I'm not going to deny that, even though my Jewish family has denied me because I decided to follow Yeshua. I'm no stranger to this type of persecution. So I've been getting it from them, and I get it from the Christians. And then, of course, I'm an experiencer. I've seen and had interactions with different types of aliens. So I'm a Venn diagram. I don't know. That's why I trust God, because I know that I'm not any of these things. These things, this is like identity stuff. My identity is rooted in the kingdom of heaven in Christ that lives in me. And that's how I roll, because I can't get, I don't know, it's hard. It's hard. I do, thank God, in terms of reactions and responses, I do have an audience that is Christian, that does understand this, because what it does is it allows a lot of these believers to give them permission to have these, they have memories, they have past life, people work on stuff in therapy. And for a Christian to deny that, this, when a Christian says, oh, does that mean we have to come back and do this all over again? Not necessarily, if you get it right this time, but it's not always about the future. It's about the past. If you have an understanding and an awareness that you've been here before, then that can help you navigate what you're doing now. So focus on the past is relevant because history repeats itself. And we know this, that even like souls will come back and keep doing the same thing over and over again until they get nudged out of the habit pattern. So that's where the knowledge of past lives can be useful to what we're doing right now. And that's what I'm trying to help some of these people do. I had a friend who was a female pastor in a Baptist church, and she agreed and understood that a lot of her congregation would come up to her because they were getting abducted. They were getting abducted by aliens, and they couldn't understand why it wouldn't stop through prayer. And so she came to me and asked me what I thought about that. And when I gave her the answer, she disconnected me. I can have nothing to do with you, because I said it's connected to the past. And it is. Alien abductions are connected to your past lives, which is why I was at the age of 2 when I got abducted. I didn't choose it in this body. It was a continuation of the agreements and contracts I was in a past life. And that knowledge helped me to extricate myself, break those contracts, break those agreements in this life so that I can be free of this bondage. So when I gave her that information, she couldn't accept the fact that we get reincarnated. So this is a blind spot for Christians. If they allow this peace, they can maybe have healing of things and closure. So that's why I think it's relevant now, because so many people are coming forward with these experiences and they just don't understand and know how to navigate it.
Should viewers of Paranormal Yakker want to buy the Cosmic Slingshot, Connecting Dots to Reincarnation in the Bible, Alien Abductions, and End Times Prophecies, as well as learn of the other books you've authored, how, Ella, can they do that?
Thank you, Stan. I'm at who's who in the cosmiczoo.com. I ship books only to United States addresses. Sorry, international shipping is way too crazy these days. So I tell everyone outside the States, just go to Amazon. I'm on Amazon worldwide in Kindle, paperback, and 3 of my books have recently been published in audio, also through Amazon. Book 1, Book 3, and Book 5, and I'm working on the others. And if you need a PDF version, you can come to my website, because that can be used in text to audio software. So for blind people, that is useful. So who's who in the cosmiczoo.com.
Ella LeBain, I thank you for being my guest on Paranormal Yakker. As always, yakking with you has been an informative and exhilarating experience.
Thank you for having me, Stan. It's always great to talk to you.